Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. I'm Preacher Moss, the host, the funny man of course, the Shout Out Show. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us. We know that these are special days and a special month, and you have special hours, and you're just doing all you can to get the blessing and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of these things important. They're very, very important. And today's topic, if you will, is really about faith. We're gonna take a little bit of a step back. I know we've been doing the Jews every day, and we got to number 18, Alhamdulillah. So I will revisit that probably on tomorrow's show. But today is just we just need to talk. I think there's somewhat of an overemphasis on acting a certain way during Ramadan, which really takes us away from the fact that we have all these other months in the year to live, that all our efforts to be great and awesome and obedient this month, they need to carry over. So the thing I want to talk about today is faith. Now, I'm going to frame this out for you a little bit. 2 years back, Sister Sadana and I we did a comedy writing class called Funny Right Now. And the idea of Funny Right Now was to have young wannabe Muslim writers, producers, content creators come on the platform, and we would teach them how to write. Well, creativity finds its way. And there was a student, his name was Nuri Amir. He gives everybody salams. But Nuri wrote a story about faith. Now, let me back this up a little bit. Nuri is a Newark dude, like an old school Newark dude. He don't take no mess and stuff like that. He can come off a little gruff, but we love Nuri. He's a talented guy, wrote for Kool and the Gang, all of that. But when it came to his writing, sometimes it was a little gruff. And like sometimes we would cringe when he would read stuff. We'd be like, ooh, ow, ooh. And I'm not saying haram, halal, anything. It was just like, dude, you're writing with razors. You're hurting us. But he wrote this story about faith. Now, let me expand on this whole idea of faith. As much as we are in the throes of Ramadan, one of the things that people are not going to discuss enough is, where is your faith level going to be when you come out of this month? Like, are you going to be on a high like when you went to Taraweeh and things like that? Or is it going to carry over? Because a lot of times, let's be honest, it doesn't carry over. Once we get past the Eid and a couple of days of some extra fasting, we're back in the throes of the world. And we're doing sometimes a lot of the stuff that we had. And sometimes the things that we're doing are, I want to say, deniers of faith. Let's call that. I call them faith breakers. And sometimes, that sometimes that it doesn't allow us to expand beyond this feeling where everybody's feeling it, where you work for your own independent aspect about how you want to express faith in your work, in your family, and your religious devotion, all those things. So Nuri came up with this story called Don't Kill Baby Bird. And the scope of the story was, there's three birds, mama bird, daddy bird, and a baby bird. And they're having a discussion, and the discussion centers around the fact that daddy bird believes that, baby bird needs to get out of the nest and learn how to fly. He says it's absolutely necessary. You can't learn anything here. You have to get out here and practice it. Literally saying almost, you got to stand on your faith about flying. Now, mama bird is protective. She's like, no, don't send my baby out there. And it comes to accumulation, and they have all these logical arguments. He's not ready. Da, da, da. So here we are in this class listening to this story being read. And we're kind of cringing because it's not a whole lot of discernment between options here. Either baby bird is going to fly or it's going to smash into the earth. And we're kind of looking at Nuri going, Nuri would kill this bird. So we're reading this thing and we watch the whole play out verbally of the father saying, you're going to have to get out there and have faith that you can fly. And he pushes baby bird out. And baby bird is plummeting to the earth. Yeah! And everybody in the group was like, oh, this is, even though it's fiction, this is going to end horribly. Ah! And in our hearts, even though we're supportive and we don't tell people how to write, what to write, or anything, we're going, Nuri, don't kill baby bird. Don't kill baby bird. Don't kill faith. And as Baby Bird plummeted right before Baby Bird was about to hit the earth, he spread his wings and flew. And I'm here to tell you, I never seen a group of people in a Zoom meeting so relieved that a fictional bird had lived. So I have to say this to a lot of folks. When you have faith, don't kill Baby Bird. Be clear and honest about how you feel. How you doing, Sister Tana? You popping on? She said, no, I am not. But I'm saying this because I mean this, because we have to start having discussions that carry outside of Ramadan. There are people who don't want you to have faith. There are people who will demean your faith. They will belittle your faith. You know, faith, I said, oftentimes is emotional intelligence that a lot of people don't have. And because they don't have it, a lot of times, their first reaction, their first principle is to deny it to other people, which is almost redundancy and foolishness, acting foolishness, because if a person has faith, there's really no way you could take it. I mean, you can try different things, and we've all been through stuff. You can go look out throughout history where people try to deny people faith. Sometimes having people put faith in the system that doesn't work, and sometimes people just try and take away the units or instrumentation for people to have faith and expression. Today here on the Shout Out Show, we're going to talk a little bit about that. All right? So tune in. A shout out to Nuri Amir. Everybody, don't you move. We're talking about faith. Don't kill Baby Bird. We'll be right back. All right. So getting into our space, brothers and sisters, I want to make sure that I am welcoming everybody to the spot. This is great, a great place to be. I'm happy. Thanks for all the du'as, people. I am on the mend. Inshallah, I feel better soon. I'm feeling better already, but it's good to have those du'as. Shout out to Dr. Sion, Mr. Chappelle's mom. She had a successful surgery. Alhamdulillah for that. And Sister Felicia, thank you so much for letting us know. Want to make sure we shout out also on the man, Sister Nia Dixon. And we also want to make sure that we are shouting out Brother Dwayne Haskins, formerly of the Washington Redskins, just the Commanders now. But everybody knows what happened with him down in Florida, killed in an automobile accident. But the funeral is this weekend. Let's make sure we put our prayers up for that too. So let me get into the box right now. Let me get in here. All right. We got some folks in here. I see one of my all-stars in here. Got to shout him out. All-star comedian, all-world comedian. We got Sister Reed. What's going on, Sister Reed? Talk about hello, family. Hello to you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Sister Reed. I just want to make sure that you are blessed, your family is blessed, and as we move forward, you were looking for blessings and you were strong in what you believe in your faith. And I hope that Allah continues to motivate you to seek better for everything you do. Seek better for everything you do. All right. Next up, Altaf Rashid, better known as Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down. What's going on, beloved? Man, good to have you on the show. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak. As well, just want to give you a shout out, man. People, this is our Canadian ambassador to the show. Thank you so much for the comments yesterday when we were talking about this whole idea of Islamophobia and burning Qurans. Interesting. Good to have you in the spot. Next up, my main man, L.A. Hardy. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. L.A., I know you say assalamu alaikum, and I go, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let me give you a little explanation for that. Wa means, you say assalamu alaikum, that means peace being to you, but I try to give you the whole thing, which is I want you to have the peace, I want you to have the mercy, and I want you to have the blessings of God Allah, so you feel good and your family is blessed too, man. Good to see you on the spot, man. Much love. You know what, I'm struggling, but you know, we get old and we have these ailments, but Allah is merciful, man. So I'm gonna be good and get out on that road and make it do what it do. How you feeling about the change, Cleveland? The Cleveland Indians are not the Cleveland Indians anymore. What are they? It begins with a G. But you know, I understand what it is. You know, we're the Washington Commanders. That's the worst name in the world. But we'll talk about that later. Next up, Brother Eric, wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak, beloved. How are you doing, man? Much love and peace and appreciation to you. Thank you so much for coming on the platform. I pray that you and your family are well and blessed, and that your iftar is full, and that the food that you ate is good for the service of Allah's creation. Nice to see you again, brother. Next up, Bala Salahuddin and the lovely Sonia Salahuddin. What's going on, family? I appreciate y'all always representing the ShOUT show wherever you go. Much love to you. And of course, Ramadan Mubarak. Brother, I know I'm slow in getting that thing to you, but please be patient with your brother. As soon as I get back on my feet, I'm going to make it happen. Trust me, I'm going to make it happen. Sister Sonia, as always, you are a queen. So thank you so much for being on our platform. And we can't forget our consultant producer, Sister Satana Whitfield. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Ramadan Kareem to you, making sure everything's well. You know, Sister Satana is making sure everything doesn't move on me for the show so I don't fall out my chair and things like that. She's trying to keep this thing straight. So also, we're going to give a shout out to Islamic Relief, who is supporting the Ramadan 30 for 30. We appreciate it, Islamic Relief. And also, we got some love, of course, from Convenient Urgent Care. Shout out to Convenient Urgent Care, brother Ijaz Siad, looking out for his boy. So, well, let me throw this whole idea out. I found something on the internet that helped me understand. Oh, hey, we got brother Tariq. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Tariq. I'm trying to look well, brother. It's all smoke and mirrors. That's it. I got a gray beard, but I dyed it that way. No, I'm just kidding. So listen, this whole idea of faith, it seems the conundrum of faith is that you have to have it around people who don't have faith. It's almost like being profitable around people who don't want to be profitable. It's almost like having a good, hardworking, a strong work ethic with people who don't want to have a work ethic. And that's the nature of this business. This is how your faith is always tried and tested. You know, it's not that people of faith run into problems with other people of faith. It's that people conflict what faith is and try to humanize it to the point that faith is supposed to serve my needs. Now, I'm going to show a clip here shortly. And this is Reverend T.D. Jakes. Nobody freak out. I like T.D. Jakes. You know why? And I'm going to tell you why. There are some points that are clear Abrahamic religion tradition points, okay? It doesn't matter who said it, where they said it. It has the truth in it. And as we begin to talk about faith, you know, it's interesting because we have this interstitial where we're always trying to process what it is that our faith means. And at the second level, we're trying to figure out what our faith means to other people. He's going to say some things in this video that are very, very profound. And he's really going to talk about how you hold on to faith, the emotion that happens when you're about to give up. And he puts in some really, really strong points. And I'm going to talk about it. And then the second part of the show, I'm going to give you guys a little narrative of a friend of mine, formerly a comedian. We had a road trip together. First time we ever did a road trip together from Milwaukee, headed to St. Joe, Missouri. I think that was it, St. Joseph, Missouri. And he was a new Muslim, and I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to do the spoiler alert, but I want you to check this out and let's talk about it. Let's expand on it here on the ShOUT Show. Go ahead and hit it, Sadana.
It's an urge. Truth be told, every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit. Don't you give up on your dream. I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. It may take you twice as long. You may have to take courses and classes. You might not read as fast. You might not move as quick. You might not have as much. But don't you quit. Don't you quit. Don't you quit. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. As weak as you are, as tired as you are, as many mistakes as you made, you do make a difference. There is something they would lose if you were not there. There was something that they would miss if you were not there. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. You do make a difference. Keep hopping. It's for people that are trying to hop their way back home. Come hell or high water, doing the best they can with what they got. That's who we are, doing the best we can with what we got. And we may not break any ribbons and we may not get any trophies, but if we can learn how to hang on in there, we'll be all right. I will not lie to you, I feel like going on. But I have seen days I did not want to get out of bed, didn't want to put on clothes, and didn't even feel like brushing my teeth. I've seen days so dark that I just wanted to keep driving, and I didn't even care where I ended up or what you called me. They came, and they passed, and they came to pass. I kept the faith. I kept it. I lost a lot of stuff. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of strength. I lost a lot of courage. I lost a lot of time. I lost a lot of money. But I kept down on my knees. I was still believing. Broke, I was believing. Lonely, I was believing. Betrayed, I was. If you lose a job, keep the faith. If you lose a spouse, keep the faith. If you bury your child, keep the faith. If you have to downsize, keep the faith. If you have to move in with your mama, keep the faith. If you're at your wit's end, keep the faith. If you have to catch the bus, keep the faith. If you have to dumb, keep the faith. If you get sick, keep the faith. If you lose your kidneys, keep the faith. If you got heart trouble, keep the faith. You might not get a new heart, but you gotta keep your faith.
There's a very clear profundity to what he's saying, brothers and sisters. And I want to tie on to this story, but I want to make sure we take a break, take a pause for the cause. Let's go ahead and run out. I'll add, shout out our sponsor for Ramadan 30 for 30. Let's go ahead and put up.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. I wanted to bring my love and joy and support to Islamic Relief during this Ramadan season. Ramadan Mubarak to all of you.
Let us salute Islamic Relief USA for living up to the calling of this holy month, helping local organizations, providing food security, health care, and financial assistance to struggling communities and resettled refugees.
Our Muslim American community has been on the front lines in Florida's 9th Congressional District and other areas of the nation to help us recover.
I'm grateful for all the work they are doing in my district and around the world.
Islamic Relief USA is constantly working together for a better world.
Your charitable efforts to help reduce hunger, educate refugees, and assist survivors of domestic abuse embody the noble values that are honored in Ramadan.
Your work to put the Muslim values of community and charity into action has helped not only provide food, but also healthcare, financial assistance, and many more hit hardest by this pandemic.
Islamic Relief USA and the Muslim American community in my district have lived those values to the fullest these last 2 years.
Thank you to Islamic Relief USA for the work you do to lift the voices of Muslims all around the world.
As we continue to fight for a more just and more tolerant world, I am honored to be your partner in Congress.
It's this community care that binds us as a global human family.
We are better for all that you have contributed and the difference that you make.
I wish you and all of my Muslim brothers and sisters a blessed month of peace and spiritual renewal.
May peace and love be brought upon you. Ramadan Mubarak.
Thank you for that very, very important message and inspiring message from, of course, Islamic Relief USA. So I want to back up a little bit. I know everybody's into their mode with Ramadan, and I want to go back a couple years ago. I actually want to go back to maybe I think it was 1994, and I had booked a gig in St. Joseph's, Missouri. It's quite a drive from where I lived in Milwaukee, and you have to get up early. And one of the guys who was on, there's another comedian, and I put him on the set because he really wanted to get on. I was like, well, come on, man. He had been improving. And I said, yeah, well, but I got to pick you up early, blah, 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 blah. I'm Deaning, so I'm up early, like 4. I'm going to pick him up. We're going to get past Chicago traffic. All of that. He comes out of the house. It's freezing cold. He's sneezing. I'm like, oh, I don't want that for the rest of the trip. You know how that goes. But I was like, all right, he's all right. Nose running. I'm like, okay, cool. We get headed down, and we have these conversations. He was a new convert. He's interested about how his development in Islam was going to develop, how it was going to evolve, and how they deal with his parents and things like that. It was a really good conversation. And what I remember was, he had on like a long shirt. I'm like, dude, it's burning up. I'm like, it's burning up in his car. I know it's cold outside, but I keep the car heated. Whatever the temperature is, I'm 10 degrees above that. If it's 95 in the car, I'm 105. Okay, so this brother is heated, but I didn't think of it because I always keep a top shirt on when I'm driving. And, he's Muslim and all of that. And we finally get a little bit down towards the way. And we're talking about religion and Islam. And, he's asking the questions that a lot of folks ask when they first make a transition to a new faith or a new thought paradigm. And I was like, well, look, bro, let's go ahead and pray because we're driven. And I was like, I don't know where the next stop is going to be. I'm one of those guys drive, full tank to empty. So we get out after about 400 some miles, and we're making wudu. And he's like, go ahead, you can go in. I'm like, dude, look, the prayer is going out. There's a double sync. Let's just make it happen. He's like, okay. And I was like, all right. So, you have to take off your shirt and you make him do. And I looked at him and he rolled his shirts up. He rolled his sleeves up, and I saw a lot of track marks. So I saw a lot of track marks where he'd been shooting heroin or where he had shot heroin at one time. And he looked at me and he was, kind of like, what are you going to say? And, I finished making my wudu and I let the slot. And we sat there at this, the little off ramps you go to. You have to lay out your rugs and all of that. It was cold that day. So he asked me, he said, well, you don't have anything to say about the track marks. And then I quietly said, well, I don't have anything to say about the track marks. You have to tell me about these track marks. He said, well, I'm a Muslim. I said, that's good. He said, I try and take care of my family and I work a job, and I work actually 2 jobs, and I try and take care of my kids, my wife's mother and things like that. And I'm like, good for you, brother. And then he stops. He goes, well, can I be a man of faith and still be on heroin? And I said, well, at what level of heroin are you on? I mean, you a full-blown addict? Or he's like, no, I'm functional. And I'm like, well, let me ask you a question. I said, before you were functional, were you non-functional? And he said, yeah. He said, I was a full-blown addict at one point in time. I got into this faith, and I'm trying to wean myself off the heroin and get to Islam. And he asked this question. It's like, can you be a Muslim, a practitioner of faith, and be a heroin addict? And I said, yes, you can. And he said, how do you know? I said, you can. I said, because your presence informs and improves the quality of life of people around you. I said, while you may have some doubts about your faith due to the heroin, you seem to have superseded that because it's not so important that it stops you from trying to take care of your family and pay your bills and da-da-da. And I said, in the gist of things, if you're blessed, and so we've all gone through it, it's a scaffolding process. And right now it's like this. And as you get to this point, it will be like that. I said, when you get to the point where there's no heroin usage, I said, your effectiveness at these spots with these people informing people how to pursue their dreams, informing people of how to have hope and inspiration. I said, it'll be even that much greater. So he looked at me, he said, "Are you kidding?" I said, "No, it's no joke. No joke." And I don't know what I thought. I said, "But before we get in that car, you don't have no heroin in the car, do you?" I said, "We're in Missouri. We'll do 100 years now here." And he said, "No, I don't have any heroin in the car." And I said, "Okay, bro." I said, "But let me ask you this. Are you seeking help?" And he said, I'm trying. And I said, "Well, listen, don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed to seek help." I said, "We all have our battles, and we all have our albatrosses to carry, and we all have our demons." I said, "But I don't want you to ever think that you don't have faith." I'm like, "You are the possessor of your faith." I said, "And don't hang around faith killers, people that try to tell you that you don't matter, people that try to tell you that you have no value, people that try to tell you that somehow, some way, unless they qualify you or they, somehow validate who you are, then you're nothing." And he was like, "Okay, all right." So we did the show in Milwaukee, not Milwaukee, but in St. Joe's, Missouri. Had some food, had some laughs, and eventually went back to Milwaukee. So on a trip, about 3 years later, I moved out of Milwaukee. I saw him at the masjid, and he looked great. Skin was good. And I asked him about the heroin. He said, "No, I gave that up." And I said, "Well, what made you give it up?" He said, "The faith balance was so strong and the scaffolding was so quick." He said, "I was able to move off those things." And he said, and I'll never forget this, he said that sometimes purpose is put in front of your faith, and it's so clear that you can't help but respond to it. And at that point in time, I gave that brother a big hug, and he wound up not staying in the comedy game. He said, he wanted to put his faith someplace else. I said, "I respect that." But just the idea that a quiet conversation, it doesn't have to be like TD Jakes in front of 15,000 people, but that we have these quiet conversations with one another. Doesn't have to be, "Oh, I'm on IG, I'm trying to get 20,000 likes." It ain't like that. Faith is not like that. Faith is very much the way I just discussed it for a lot of us, that we run into people who need to have these conversations, who require these connections. And as much as I like to say, well, we're informing them, they are informing us that, the world has a lot of work to do. And if we have faith, we believe that we can be a part of that improvement. All right. So I am going to get out of here. Oh, got a late hello from Miss Mary Moss. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Mama Son. Glad you came on the show. But I am going to get out of here. Oh, wait a minute. Brother Tariq Imam Tariq, praise be to Allah. This topic and similar ones need to be brought out of we don't talk about that and give common sense spiritual messages. No, you're right. You're right. I still remember that conversation, Imam Tariq, because when he told me he was on heroin, he was trying to get off heroin. I remember he recoiled. He recoiled. And I was like, first of all, I've been around people who've been on heroin. Second of all, I said, I ain't got time to judge you. I said, if you need help or you need assistance, I'm here for that, but not to judge you. And I remember the feeling that we could just talk that space and just have a meaningful conversation. So that space right there also concludes our space about faith. Don't kill baby bird. Don't let people kill your faith. Here's the idea that I want everybody to know. Nobody can kill your faith. What they do is try to put you in situations, scenarios where you get so desperate and desolate that you kill your own faith, and then they take credit for it. So if you get anything out of this about faith, remember the story. Courtesy of Brother Nuri Amir, don't kill baby bird, meaning don't kill your faith. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. See you tomorrow, inshallah.
Sponsor an orphan, and you'll help support a vulnerable child to have the education they've always dreamed of, so they can build a brighter future. you'll be feeding a hungry stomach and a hungry mind with knowledge that will last them a lifetime. That's the power of an education. Sponsor an orphan now with Islamic Relief.